Hello, world. This is Talkin Live. I have my special friend here from Pakistan, and his name is Syed. He's a great guy. I know him a long time.
Now, let's get ready. You are Talkin Live with Lamar Bearden.
Okay, we're glad you tuned in. We hope that you're going to love this show. We have Syed here, and he's going to talk about Pakistan, and a lot of people in that area that he knows. And, of course, he knows a lot of people overseas, and many have been friends for a long time. He wants to do a show. I wanted him to do a show. He did a show for us a while back, and it turned out real great. The audience loved it, so I asked him to come back and do another show. And we will talk about whatever he wants to talk about, but I'm going to ask him about the tariffs the first thing.
Hey. Hey, Lamar, thanks for having me today. So, of course, tariff is on every businessman's concern right now, and we'll hatch it out and see what's in there and how we can use it effectively to both advance for not only for U.S. but also the consumers. So how you gauge it like a tariff, right? Have you been affected by tariffs so far?
Somewhat, and the stuff I'm getting out of China, yeah.
Yeah. So do you see like a real impact as far as the consumers are concerned?
Maybe a little high and then back down to low. If they keep it on the right level, where the people can, pay a low tariff. I had some come in. It was on like 100 and something.
Yeah.
Tariff, 100. Well,
there's so much right now. The uncertainty. That's the problem. Like it's not clear yet. The impact is not clear. There's a lot of speculation, and just because of the speculation, there's a little bit unnecessary panic too. Because if you look at realistically, the impact hasn't been there yet. Because right now, because it was on a pause, and when the real impact gonna be here, when people start buying the stuff which has the tariff on it, so they are it is expected it's gonna be a little bit difference on prices. But what's going to be in real terms is still unknown. So from Trump administration, they're trying to rewrite kind of thing the trading agreements because from Trump perspective and all in the administration, they thought that some foreign countries unfairly taxing the U.S. products there. So because of that, they were not competitive. And in some countries, I know that India for sure, because he also mentioned, President Trump, that they have some on such an high tariff on American imports that is practically unreasonable for American manufacturers and exporters to sell anything in India. And on the other hand, Indian had free access to American markets. So this balance is pretty much tilted towards India. So we understand that they are upset, and also other countries too. But right now we already have agreements with the United Kingdom, and probably we're gonna have some more deals with the European community, where it's gonna be on a reasonable level. But we understand where Trump is coming from. He want to get like a fair balancing trade agreements with the entire world, not where American goods are very hesitant to go into those markets. So we have we are an exporter too. So our products goes to export some countries. I give you an example. Pakistan is practically impossible for American exporters to sell or export anything in Pakistan because the duties are so high. whereas Pakistani products coming into the U.S. have practically no tariffs. So this is an imbalance. So we need to go back to the drawing board. Either it has to be, if it's a reciprocal, then they have to pay the tariffs too. I know that it's going to pass on to the consumer, but at the end of the day, it might compel them to reduce the tariff so that we have the fair access into the foreign markets. Right now, we are not that competitive. American exporters, whatever they are, mostly we are in dairy products and electronics, especially the used electronics which we are associated to. It's practically impossible to export to the other countries. But some countries are coming around and they are trying to make some concessions. So where there is a balancing act.
Yeah, there's I'd heard that India had made a deal for 10%. Is that true?
Yeah, it is. That's what they still. I don't remember. They have finalized the deal, but the thing is, like for example, U.S. electronics, you cannot. Those are banned because they are protecting their own industry. Yeah, because India is emerging big economy as far as the IT is concerned, computer sciences and all that. So they have. I remember that we could not export anything related to the computers to India. It was pretty much banned. So now, because that's the one product we have left that we can export, like the new the computers, chips, and all those. But if they put unnecessary tariffs India, then it's practically impossible. I know they are trying to protect their own industry, but again, it is unfair to the U.S. Manufacturers and exporters that they don't have a fair shot at it. So if India wants to deal with the U.S. on a fair term, they got to come down, and it has to be apples to apples and orange to orange, like a dollar to a dollar, that kind of stuff. So we have to make sure that every country we are dealing with. I know a lot of people say it's going to be passed on to the consumers. There's going to be an impact, no doubt. But again, it may be a bargaining chip that our products also are welcome in other economies like China, European communities, Canada, India, and other Far East countries. So there is still so many things to be unwrapped right now, and it's only time going to tell which side is going to fall on.
Yeah. What is the tariff right now in India for shipping in scrap?
Scrap is, again, the thing is, what kind of scrap? The computer scrap is almost close to forbidden. Like, no, they don't want the scrap comes there because, again, they are trying to protect their markets, their own industries. So that's why, bits and pieces goes there. We heard that a lot of goes through, different channels, from maybe you call it, through carry, through ship, like, underneath their customs and all that, from other countries. But if you want to sell it from the U.S., it's kind of impossible. And U.S. doesn't have, unless it's a very rare commodity, which is none right now, that that's why there's such a the deficit, the trade deficit is huge with India, and that's what President Trump is trying to bring to the reasonable level. It may not be at par, but at least to a level where we can say, okay, now we are on equal terms. So that's where it is right now. So there's other countries too. China is the biggest one. So that's the one which affects the consumers. So I hope that they come to a good deal, which helps both the economies and the countries, and more importantly to the consumers. And I know they're saying that because Walmart is a big importers from there, and so the other big box stores, Amazon, and 99% is coming from India. So it all gonna impact the prices eventually. If somebody says it's not gonna oh, we can force them. But again, in a market economy, it's very difficult to force somebody. But President Trump's intent is honest one, because he's trying to see that the American economy and the American people benefit overall at the end of this whole thing. So let's see how it goes. But I see the next few months going to be critical, how the things shape up.
I think the tariffs, all these different countries needs to kind of level out on the tariffs and work it where both have a low amount of tariffs both ways. I mean, not a ridiculous.
The other country, no, what we have seen over the years, like other than the U.S., U.S. has been very open. They've been very kind to the world, in a sense. They allow their markets, free. Countries have been protective of their own industries, and that's why they levy so much taxes. If you go some countries, if you export a car to any Southeast country, you pay 300% duties.
Yeah.
Like a car, for example, here is 50 grand. Over there, you're going to take is 200 grand, which is practically. I know some rich people going to buy it though, but again, it's not realistic that you're going to be selling a whole lot of cars. So now we are coming to a point that everybody got to open their markets, like for every U.S. products as well as the other products. So if you want to do a free trade and a equitable kind of a trade deals, so everybody gonna have to have the same amount of tariff if they want to do the tariff. So that's where we are. It's gonna benefit, I know, at the end, us as a whole economy, that everybody treats us fairly. So some people say I'm more pro tariff, or some people say I'm against that, but I'm in the middle right now. We're gonna see that at the end of the day. At the end of the day, I want that U.S. consumers and U.S. as a whole economy wins, because we are Americans first. We are not concerned about what Chinese or Indian governments get out of it, but we are only concerned, just like President Trump, that how it can benefit the U.S. consumers and the U.S. economy as a whole. Maybe
you are a Trump fan.
Yes, yeah, we voted for him. Not only that, our whole family, and then we also convinced from our community. There was a lot of reasons for that, and we're still hoping that. And one thing what we were banking on Trump to do was with respect to Pakistan, because it's still, we have some soft corner. Our heart is still there, as Pakistani Americans. Even though I've been here 40 years, but again, we wanted to use his influence to get democracy in Pakistan. Pakistan has practically a martial law and dictatorship there.
Excuse me, how often you go, I want to ask you this, how often you go back to Pakistan?
The last time I was there was close to 15 years ago. So haven't been there lately.
You got relatives over there. Don't you have relatives?
Very few left, like distant cousins and all those. Not any, like our close relatives are here. We've been here for a long time. But what we were looking for, especially we have close to 1.2 Pakistani Americans in the U.S. who vote with the voting rights. So I would say overwhelming number of those voted for Trump on one pretext, because they blame Biden, who was responsible for the coup in Pakistan, that they toppled Imran Khan, which was the most popular leader. Probably he has a 90% popularity there. And after that, they put him in jail. So he's been in jail for the last 2 years. So we were strongly hoping that, because Trump's and Imran Khan's journey had been the same. They've been persecuted by deep state, establishment, so-called, and he suffered. Trump suffered because of that. A lot of charges, some trumped-up charges. Same thing with Imran Khan. Trump was lucky that he is an American. He is in a judicious country where their judiciary is in play. So we have to see that Trump uses influence and get him freedom, and democracy got to be there. Everybody has Pakistan has one good thing is Pakistan has a good military, very professional, very trained. So if they go back to their job, what they do, I think so, Pakistan can be a very viable country in terms of peace and prosperity, and they can contribute towards the world right now. So a lot of Pakistani Americans were hoping that when the Trump gonna be in power, he gonna use his good office, because he did host Imran Khan in his first term. He came to the White House, and they connected pretty good. They had a good connection going on, good friendship, and because both are similar, both are for their country, they love their people. So we were hoping the same thing, that is gonna this kind of a spirit comes again, and both countries come together. So that's what a lot of Pakistani Americans were looking for.
The conflict between India and Pakistan, you think that's settled down?
Not really, because there's a lot of underlying factors involved. One of the biggest factors is that the supremacy, like who is the boss in that area. And of course, India is a big economy. Economically, militarily, they have a lot of weapons. They have a nuclear. Pakistan is also a nuclear. I think that's definitely that's the only Muslim country, Islamic country, which has a nuclear power. So there's always kind of a apprehension from the West and other, like they want to control the Pakistan. China is pulling their weight, and then the Americas there, India.
You're saying there's division in Pakistan between different groups. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, there is. The thing is, it's very deep rooted. If you go back all the way to the 80s Afghan war, so of course, fighting against Russia, U.S. and all these, now a lot of groups which are designated as terror groups were fighting for the freedom. So at that time, they were freedom fighters. Now the same freedom fighters are now terrorist group. So there's a big issue with the Kashmir. Kashmir, when the British left, I don't know, by design, by purpose, or whatever that reason was, they left it as a disputed area, Kashmir, because half is Kashmir is controlled by the Pakistan and half by India. So, but they want, Pakistan said this is supposed to be, because all Muslim dominated, is supposed to be the part of Pakistan. India saying no, this is our land, this is our part, so we're not going to give it up. And there's a water thing, because water flows through Himalayas and comes into Pakistan from there. So the water, so after this war, they cut off the water for a few rivers. So that goes into Pakistan, that uses in agriculture and the crops. So now the farmers are very worried, because if it completely dries out, right now it's flowing, but I think so once you cut it off, after a certain time it's going to stop, and it's going to affect the crops, and the farmers, especially the poorest of the poor, going to suffer more. And Pakistan will have to import a lot of agricultural products like crops and grains and all that kind of stuff. So it's very complicated. So if you ask me, like, what is the solution? It's not a one-pronged solution. There are and there are multiple actors involved. Everybody is trying to get a piece of it, and they'll put their own influence in Pakistan. Pakistan is strategically right now in the midst of everything right now. So everybody wants more influence with Pakistan. Of course, China is there. China is the neighbor. Why would they want the U.S. going there? Pakistan has been the biggest U.S. ally for a long, long time. Not only in the war on terror, even after that, Pakistan has been with the U.S. And that was a big surprise. But China was kind of like, okay, because China looked the other way since it's a big trading partner with the U.S. So with Pakistan, India, got to come back to the table, and there has to be honest brokers there. There has to be both civilian, democratically elected governments who can talk on the same level. Because it's very difficult, because India always skeptical about Pakistan. We say, okay, it is ruled by military for the last 76 odd years, even though there have been some civil front government, but they mostly call India, always say that these are puppet governments, because they have no, because in the background, the military has been running the show. So now the things are, so India doesn't trust that. They said, okay, they are the one who are instigating attacks on India. Some are justified and some are not justified. So again, but the thing, once you are notorious for something, then of course, like the bad kid in the class always get blamed for something he never done. So this is the same kind of scenario Pakistan. But Pakistan is very critical because that's a flashpoint. Both are nuclear power. The last thing we want to do, like somebody crazy thing happen, both sides get riled up, and they use something which is forbidden, like in this day and age, nuclear, which are very powerful.
Nobody wins.
Nobody wins. If you look at it, Lamar, overall, when there's a war, nobody wins. Even somebody who claims a victory. Right now, both the sides are claiming they are victorious. Like, okay, 26 odd people died on one, 26, 30 died on the other. Who is the winner? Nobody. Because who got killed? Innocent people. I don't remember. I think so. There's one or two military people, got killed. I think one from Pakistani side. There was a pilot who got hit, and he died. And I think so. There's none from Indian side. So at the end of the day, it's always the innocence that and nobody. Even if you look at from Russia and Ukraine war, who is suffering? The common people. I know the military. Yeah, there are a lot of death from military side, but that's what their job is. But dying is not shouldn't be fate of the common people.
Yeah.
So I think so. At the end of the day, the one thing Trump can do in this, he got three and a half years or whatever is left, bring peace to the world. That it should be, and I have no doubt is that if one human being who has the capacity and who has the power to bring it single-handedly, nobody had that much since I would know ages, who can bring peace on his own level. He can instruct pretty much pick up a phone and call anybody and say that, I know a lot of people are criticizing him. Oh, he promised that he's going to end the Russian war on day one. But the problem is, it's not Trump's fault. There's got to be honest broker on both sides. We got to know that Zelensky may say one thing from the back door, then he go back on the words and he said, no, I'm not going to make a deal. Even though we are funding his war, U.S., American taxpayers, he had nothing. I know he has been selling every time he comes in here, and I agree with President Trump on that. He is the best salesman in the world. In Biden administration, he comes in every few months and get a few $1 billion and go happily back there. I know some people say it's cruel to say there are people dying, but again, we were pitching in. We are footing the bill. Nobody else. European were, I think some less than 50% they ever contributed, even though it's a part of Europe. But the U.S. are doing that just for the democracy's sake. But again, he got to understand that you got to give up. If Russia is a big giant thing, you cannot fight with them. Not only that, you got to understand that, okay, whatever you lost, you lost. Just move on. Whatever you have left with, live with that. And I know people are going to criticize me. Oh, this is such a cruel, somebody, no, but some were disputed areas anyway. So you got to come back. You give up some, take some, both sides. And I think peace should come. And Trump, and same thing goes with the Palestine thing, that Trump is now I see there's a movement that because of Trump said that I'm not going to allow Israel to keep bombing. And because of him, the European got the courage. You know, UK and EU had a meeting yesterday, and they overwhelmingly said that if Israel does not stop the bombings, then we're going to cut the trade. So what we want that everybody should calm down, and the peace has to be there, and everybody should. Same thing with Israeli should live in peace, Palestine should live. Everybody live peacefully, and then we're going to have a peaceful world. We got to cut off all these wars. And if you look at it, Lamar, at the end of the day, who hurt the most, not only financially, but also as image, is U.S. American image was tarnished because people look at it negatively. Okay, wherever there is a war, why U.S. is with the aggressors, even though it may not be the case, but the way it is being promoted, that, oh, is the U.S. with the aggressors? It may not be the case all the time, but the U.S. has to come back, become again a leader for peace in the world. And that's everything gonna be depending on that. The economic well-being, the prosperity is attached with the peaceful world.
Yeah, the Russian friends, I have some Russian friends, and I know them quite a while, and I talked to them about doing business in Ukraine. I told them about a deal that's over in Ukraine right now, and they told me, said, Lamar, you can't do business with Ukraine. It's so crooked. You can't do business with them. You sell them one thing, you don't get paid. You try to do this, you try to do that. And that's from Russia. I mean, they've been here probably 30 years. I know them when they just got here mostly. And, of course, I got a friend for Ukraine, too. I hadn't been able to get in touch with him. And so, he just basically told me, he said, that you just can't do business, so crooked there. And their reputation in the Ukraine is crooked.
Yeah, that's true, though. And, when the Biden administration had, Hunter Biden, he was on a board of, he never done anything, that kind of stuff. So there is a lack of transparency. And I hope that we audit.
The views and opinions expressed on all Talkin Live Show presentations are those of the host and their guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of the Talkin Live TV broadcast studio, EPB Fiber Optics, or by this network or its management.
Tune into The Frugal Gourmet, the timeless culinary classic that brings elegance to your table without breaking the bank. Jeff Smith, the original master of budget-friendly cooking, shares recipes, tips, and a whole lot of heart. From savory suppers to decadent desserts, you'll learn how to create meals that taste gourmet without the gourmet price tag. Now airing weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Timeless Classics TV. Don't miss your chance to rediscover the art of frugal yet fabulous cooking.